Hey, what's up my friends? I'm Benjamin from IMechE University Malaya Student Chapter, and I know we have all heard about converting the sunlight's solar energy into usable electricity. But what if there's no sunlight during the day due to clouds or during the night? Therefore today I'd like to share with you one cool technology called the anti-solar panels as well as the usual solar panels to help us generate usable and sustainable clean energy throughout the day and night. And if you are wondering what is anti-solar panels, no worries, I'll cover it in today's presentation. In this short and lovely presentation, you'll learn how we can generate clean sustainable electricity using panels with and without the sun. And there are 5 sections in today's presentation that will give you a concise idea about solar and anti-solar panels. Number 1, I'll brief you through the world's energy generation as of now. Number 2, it's the usual solar PV cells. Number 3, the cool kid in the block, anti-solar cells, which generates electricity during the night time. And number 4, I'll introduce to you a newly researched technology that combines both the solar and anti-solar panels together that will solve the solar shortcoming. Finally, a sweet executive summary and a conclusion to lock the knowledge here for you. Alright, with that, let's go into it. First of all, let me provide you a broad overview of where solar is positioned right now in terms of the world's energy generation. Here's a fun fact for you. Did you know that in every hour there's more solar energy that reaches Earth than a human civilization is able to use for a whole year? Just that we can't harvest it at 100% efficiency yet. If solar is so abundant, it must be contributing a lot to the world's energy generation, right? Right? I'll give you 3 seconds to guess how many percent is solar contributing to the world's energy. And if you guess it wrong, you are punished to listen until the end. Alright? 3, 2, 1. Let's find out. Alright, this chart represents the world's total energy generation as of 2019. As you can see, a whopping 80% of energy are from fossil fuels, whereas only less than 2.9% are from those solar and other renewables. The least abundant source of energy, fossil fuels, are contributing the most to the human civilization. Doesn't make any sense, right? It is only a matter of time before we run out of them, and therefore there's a need for change. And there is where solar and anti-solar panels technology steps right in. Part of the reason of why solar isn't widely adopted yet is because it requires a huge amount of capital upfront of investment and its over-reliance on the sun. But it eventually pays out and saves the earth. So why not? Now that we have established that solar energy is the most abundant form of energy and will play a game-changing role in accelerating our society to be a clean, sustainable society, let us find out how we can capture those solar energy. We currently have 2 main forms of energy harvesting for solar, and it's through photovoltaic cells for electricity generation, and the second one is through solar thermal panels, which is used for heating purposes of water and the room. Today, we are merely focusing on the photovoltaic cells, in short, the PV cells. So what are the PV cells? The PV cells are devices that can convert energy in the form of light into electricity through the thing called photovoltaic effect. Here's a piece of diagram to show you how it works and how it flows. A PV cell when combined together becomes a module, and a module when grouped together becomes a solar PV array. That's what you usually see in those solar farms. So a solar PV array is ready to capture those solar energies, and after it generates electricity, it goes through a series of processes here until it is being provided to the national grid or it is being stored in batteries. But you might be asking, how does a piece of plain board generates electricity? Simple. The key lies within the material of the board, which is the photovoltaic cells and the photovoltaic effect. First of all, energy from the sunlight is absorbed by the photovoltaic cells, and this raises the electron within the panel's material to a higher energy state. This high energy electron will release its excessive energy in the form of electricity to the external circuit. And after releasing those excessive energy in the form of electricity, it returns back to its normal state. And the cycle repeats again to generate even more electricity. Here's a simple analogy for you to understand the concept even better. During the COVID-19 crisis, the governments from all around the world has been printing money to support the people through stimulus checks. And these people, when they got those excessive money, they got so excited and they can't wait to spend those excess money, just like the higher state electron. So they go on to websites like Shopee, Lazada, Amazon and shout to the customer service, "Shut up and take my money!" And they spend it on random stuffs just like the higher state energy of electron, releasing its excessive energy in the form of electricity. In this case, it's the money. And after that, their net worth goes back to normal state and they have to wait for the next paycheck to spend on stuffs again. But there's a catch to solar PV cells. It only works during the day, or more specifically, only when sunlight is available. Therefore, it's never enough. But no worries, there's another developing technology that can solve this exact problem, and we'll go into it right now. Introducing the radiative cooling cells, also known as thermal radiative cells or anti-solar cells. They are able to generate electricity even when there is no sunlight. These thermal radiative cells or the radiative cooling cells are the polar opposite of those PV solar cells. The PV cells absorbs light to generate electricity, whereas the radiative cooling cells or the anti-solar cells releases infrared lights to generate electricity using the thermoelectric or the Seebeck effect. Now comes the question, how does a board release lights? First, we must acknowledge that the space is a very cold and empty place. It is much colder than the attitude of my ex-girlfriend. According to the data from the Cosmic Background Explorer CBOE satellite, the temperature of space is found to be negative 2.75 Kelvin, or in other words, negative 270.4 degrees Celsius. Because space is so much colder, when you have an object at Earth at normal temperature, it is still so much warmer than the space. This causes a radiative cooling process to happen, and it's a process which a body loses its heat by thermal radiation, and it releases heat in the form of infrared lights from the panels. Within the anti-solar panels, there are thermoelectric generator which uses this heat temperature difference to generate electricity. The thermoelectric generator in the cells uses this thermal difference to generate electricity. The phenomenon is called Seebeck effect, which is an effect that directly converts the temperature difference into electrical voltage and vice versa via a thermocouple. And in this case, it's the thermoelectric generator. And if you're wondering how Seebeck effect works, here's an explanation done in 30 seconds. Within the thermoelectric generator, there are wires of alloy metals coupled together and they are known as thermocouples. Within these alloys, there are electrons present in it. And when there's temperature difference, one side is hotter than the other side. And the electrons at the warmer side have higher energy levels and they move relatively faster than the colder side. And this causes them to squeeze towards the colder side, thus causing electrons imbalance distribution, which leads to voltage difference and produce current or electricity. And if that's not simple enough, let me use this following story to illustrate even better. Now try to imagine Krusty Krab as the warmer side, Chum Bucket as the colder side, while the customers as the electron. Imagine SpongeBob, the key employee of Krusty Krab in Bikini Bottom, got COVID-19. And imagine this news spread like wildfire in Bikini Bottom. This news drives the customers away from Krusty Krab for a while and rush towards the competitor, Chum Bucket for food. Imagine these electrons as the customers, and due to this difference in customer quantity and flow, the Chum Bucket has finally made some profits after so many years of trying to grab the secret ingredient from Krusty Krab. Interestingly, the energy generation is found to be a quarter of what a normal PV solar cell is capable to produce according to this research by Jeremy Monday, a professor and a researcher from University of California. It is still in its early stage of development, so it is expected to be improved over time for its efficiency. If you are really interested to read further on this research, please feel free to read further on the following paper produced by Jeremy Monday, University of California, 2019. So ladies and gentlemen, this is how it's possible for us to generate electricity throughout the day and night. Imagine both of them as a day shift and a night shift employee that is producing electricity for mankind. One has a higher efficiency than the other one. Here's a fun analogy to help you remember better. No worries, I always got your back. Meet McDonald's senior and experienced employee, Frank. He's working the day shift, and since he's been here for so many years, he has learned a lot of things and improved a lot throughout the journey, thus able to be more efficient and productive. On the other side, we have Pink Guy. He's been assigned to be working on the night shift, and Pink Guy is quite new. He just got in roughly a week. He's still unsure of a lot of stuff during the work, like taking an order might take quite a long time because he's relatively new. Therefore, he has lower efficiency as compared to Frank. And on the record, it was found to be 25% the efficiency of Frank for Pink Guy.
Mr. Ben, what if we combine both solar and also the anti-solar cells together? Can we create a 24-hour operating system?
Smart boy! Yes, that's entirely possible. In fact, a group of researchers from University of Science and Technology of China have conducted the experiment and prototype to find out the feasibility of the idea of a hybrid between PV and a radiative cooling cells. They call it PV-RC panels. Here's what they did. They combined the PV and the radiative cooling cells into a single panel. Basically, just combining both into one single module. They manufactured it by laminating 32 solar cells, which is made of monocrystalline silicon, on a polished aluminum plate, while the top layer of the panel is made of transparent Tedlar polyester Tedlar TPT layer. To make it simple, TPT layer acts as an encapsulation of the materials within the module, and it is mainly responsible for the nighttime radiative cooling properties. And surprise, it's a 90% increase of efficiency as compared to a single solar PV cells of the same material, which is the monocrystalline silicon, proving that not only it works, it is more efficient than the traditional solar PV cells. Okay, now thank you for listening to my jokes and listening to these important knowledges. I'll give you a quick executive summary of what we have learned in this presentation. So quick summary. First of all, we learned that PV or the photovoltaic solar cells are used during the day. It generates electricity using the photovoltaic effect. Number 2, the anti-solar cells or the radiative cooling cells are used during the night, but only at a 25% efficiency as compared to the PV cells because they are quite new. And finally, there has already been researches on a hybrid prototype which work 24/7, utilizing both the PV and the RC mechanisms to generate electricity, thus increasing the overall efficiency by 90% as compared to a conventional PV cells. So ladies and gentlemen, we are on our way to race against the depletion of fossil fuels, and solar will without a doubt play a huge role to accelerate our transition towards a green, sustainable and clean energy society. I hope after listening to this presentation, you'll be well aware of the mechanisms of solar PV panels and the potential that comes from the anti-solar cells. But most importantly, I hope this inspires your passion on renewables and energy efficiency field for the good of humankind. Before we end, I'd like you to give a thought on my friend Elon Musk's quote. If it's not renewable, it's going to run out at some point. And we have the choice of a collapse of our civilization and into the dark ages we go, or we find something renewable. Elon Musk 2020. Thank you for listening. I hope you find it helpful, and I know some of you are interested to learn even further. No worries, like I said, I got your back. Check out these research papers for more info. Thanks, goodbye, and I hope to see you at the championship. Bye bye.